Hello, and what a great day to sew something wonderful. I'm Kia with Kia Bee, and welcome to our very first installment of our Beestingers Tips with Mrs. B. I'm very excited, and a lot of you have been asking the exact same question, so I want you to come in a little closer, grab your favorite cup of tea, and let's talk about your questions. Okay, I wanted you really up close because I have had this question probably more on videos and Instagram than any other question. How do I hang my quilts behind me? Y'all, it is so easy, so inexpensive, and you know that I love IKEA, so of course that's where I got the materials. So you've seen us kind of change after our son's kind of October happened, is what we keep calling it. We took that opportunity as we were off to kind of change our backdrop in our quilting studio just a tad. It was, I believe, right before our sewing tour. I believe it was like this with our sewing tour. And so, so many people have been asking how I'm hanging my quilts. So I want to go through that today. We did change them a little bit. I did add a really nice long one so that I can hang table runners like this one behind there, because some table runners I really want to showcase, and that is definitely one of them. And so I wanted somewhere long to hang that. So in our house is my sewing studio. And we have just typical 10-foot ceilings, like they're not anything special. And so what I did is I headed to IKEA when I was buying some of the other furniture that you see in our quilting studio. And I knew I wanted something that I could hang my quilts from, but I didn't want to damage the quilt. So I don't want to put nails in it. I've tried to use those like command strip things, but they're for quilts that just kind of clip on and then they stick to the wall and they're not supposed to damage. But they weren't strong enough to hold a good size quilt. I said, I'm not going to use a product and like tell you something that I love that I don't love. And it was something we got in a sew sampler box. And I tried those and it just wasn't, the adhesive wasn't strong enough to hold the quilt on the wall. So I wanted to find something different that is not going to damage my quilt and I can change out easily. I don't want to have to like hammer and nails. I want to change it out easily. So what I found, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name of these products, I'm just going to list them down below. What I found are curtain rods at IKEA. Very, very inexpensive curtain rods. So it is a rod. You cannot, this specific rod, you cannot adjust the length. Forewarning. When I bought these, I thought you could. It worked out that you couldn't. For me, it didn't matter for me, but I thought you could, but you can't. Okay, and they're very specific. They have this little ring thing on the end. This pops off so that you can, if I can do it without damaging anything, this just kind of pops off. And so that way you can slide your rings or your curtain or whatever on it. So what I decided is I grabbed these things, and as a set, I think it's below $5. I'm going to link it down below. I'll have TechGuide link all the stuff down below. And so the set, you get the brackets that hang on the wall, you get the pole, and you get the enders. I think they're called the finales. You get all of this in when you buy it. Okay. So then I thought, great, I could hang 2 or 3 of those on the wall. One up high, one down low, one kind of in the middle. So I could hang big projects, little projects, that kind of thing. But what am I going to hang them with? So I started to look at the curtain rings. What kind of things do they have? And they have these things that have like S-hooks with a clamp on them. And I was like, wow, I really like those, but the S-hooks I feel like are just going to fall right off. So that's when I found these adorable, now my pole's going to fall over here. That's when I found these really cute little rings that just slide on there. You can't really see it. There we go, up against the gray. So they're just these little rings, and these clamps do have tiny S-hooks on them, but you have to forcefully take it off of this ring. And so you can get a pack of 10 of these for really inexpensive, and they have different kinds. Mine, I bought the white poles with the white clips, and they have these little alligator clips on them. I find that they're pretty soft. If you're worried about maybe creasing your binding or making the little alligator mouth clip things on your fabric, I would just slide a piece of felt under there before you actually clamp it to your quilt. So just kind of slide a little tiny piece of felt and sandwich it in there. So these I have just slid on our pole, okay? So then I take my project. What I like to do is I like to pin my project. So I've clipped it in 3 spots, and then I can just slide these rings, all 3 of them, right on the pole, and that just kind of hangs nicely. So I do small projects like this little paper piecing, and then if you've been with us since day 1, you will recognize this little mini quilt here that is I just love it so much. I don't know that I will ever take it down out of my sewing studio just because I just love it so much. So I put 4 of these on here, and then I can just take them out. I don't have to take them off the wall every time I want to change the quilt. Once these are on the pole, I can just unfasten these and switch them out, which is what we took the opportunity to do when we changed the backdrop a little bit. So like this is about a baby size quilt here. This is a very long table runner. Up higher, you can't really see it, but I did showcase it in our sewing room tour. It's a little NICU quilt that we make to give to our local hospital. And then I have these 2 mini quilts that kind of hang over this direction. So I think I did my studio wall for less than $30 to hang everything. It may have even been less than 20, but I don't quote me yet. But check out the links down below. It is just, you got to think outside the box a little bit, because you don't want to damage such a beautiful piece of artwork. You don't want to damage your walls. You want to make sure that you're, using the best space possible that you have. And I just found that this is nice. It lets them hang about 2 inches away from the wall. And so it allows them to hang straight instead of up against the wall where, in case something should happen and anything gets spilled on the wall or leaking down the wall or anything crazy like that, it does allow them to be about a 2-inch gap away from the wall. And that way, that's kind of why you see some shadows casted here. It's not great for filming, but it does showcase it. And so when people come through our home, I do want our sewing studio to look like it's halfway put together. And so I like to showcase the beautiful work and hard work that I put into this. So if you have any questions, please comment down below. I will be happy to answer them. I will be happy to help you find what is going to work best in your space. This may not work in your space. If you remember in our tiny studio on the other side of our house, I didn't have any wall space, and so this was not an option for us. I didn't have a space where I could really display quilts, and so that's just something that I've been blessed with in this quilting studio now. So thank you guys so much for being with us today in the Hive, and next week I cannot wait to see you again. Have a great day.